Welcome back. Chapter 4, Marketing Ethics. One of the key pieces, ethics and integrity. How do marketers approach this? Considering two different types. The firm's goals. Some firms, greed and short term. Ethics is not at their core. Others, long-term relationships, where ethics is at the core and really building a solid consumer relationship. So let's take a look in terms of the short-term and long-term goals and how different companies result. Scope of marketing. There is business ethics from the overall what is ethical from a business standpoint, and then there is marketing ethics in terms of how we market out to consumers. What is ethical? Consider back in the day. What did we market out to consumers? Well, a lot of the cereal companies promoted to children and all these sugary cereals and all sugars, and then much of the population in terms of obesity and other issues, and then parents started demanding that their children were not targeted. Think about Disney and how often they target. It's called pestering the parents. Is that ethical marketing to market to the children? Or think about many, many years ago. Think about the products that were available in schools, how they were marketed. Some of the sugary snack bars and candy bars, or even back in the day when it was cigarettes. Was any of that ethical? Take a look at this link and see the marketing ethics throughout the years. Considering an ethical climate in the workplace, what type of company do you work for? Or what type of company would you like to work for? Consider a couple of key pieces. The values. What are the values of that company? Are they established? Is it something that drives the core company? The rules. Our management, are they committed to the rules? Does that thread throughout everyone, or is it just rules that are posted where no one backs? And finally, and more importantly, controls. How they analyze and really manage to make sure that the ethics of a company are sound and on target and are followed through. Control is the one aspect that you can make sure pieces are occurring, it's being implemented, or you can refine it at any point. The American Marketing Association Code of Ethics indicates generally accepted code in marketing, basically what we all agree to when we take on these marketing jobs. We don't officially sign off on the AMA Code of Ethics, but this is what we align, and with the largest brands in the world in terms of what you're going to market, that there is research behind it. That's why we have so many key stakeholders to make sure what we say at the time is real, and it's not persuading someone in the wrong way or providing falsified information. This is key within any corporation, but specifically within marketing and depending on the different cohorts that we're speaking to at the time. So flows from general norms of ethical value. So marketing ethics doesn't fall too far from your normal general ethics of being a good citizen. And finally, sub-areas have their own code of ethics to deal with special issues in terms of different companies, even different tobacco companies. One tobacco company chooses not to advertise whatsoever in magazines. It's not illegal, but the other tobacco company chooses to. It's just their overall, what they have focused on from ethics and what they've agreed upon from management and how they continue to control and implement that. Marketing ethics through history. I invite you to take a look at this and see way back when we promoted that doctors, the official cigarette of doctors, all the way to today, and talking about sugary and different types of sweets. How ethically conscious are some of the largest corporations in the world? Take a look at this video to get an idea. The influence of personal ethics. We always question this. Has anyone ever challenged you on it? Have they asked you to do something that you weren't interested in doing or was absolutely against your faith or against your beliefs, your core integrity? Consider it, from genetics to family to religion to values and all the other areas where ethics truly comes into play. Why do people act unethically? Is it at their core? Do they really understand what they're doing at the time when they create some of those actions? Let's talk about it a little bit further. Competing outcomes. Look at it from a car company. Let's say it's Toyota, understanding that they know that the brakes aren't working. What could possibly happen? One, unethical, not letting the consumers know. So going down that, continue production. Potential injury to consumers and loss of revenue. The other flip side is stop production. So you're going to delay production, possible layoffs, loss of bonuses, and loss of revenue at the same point. So either way, your ethical decisions can come out with the same outcomes. So you really need to take every single step to look at that. And the link between ethics and corporate social responsibility, take a look at this grid and please click on the video as well. As you'll see, we look at ethical and social responsible. So some companies, great companies, can be both ethical and socially responsible. Thinking of they are green and save the planet, as well as their core mission is really to do the best they can for their consumers and always provide the best value. Some companies, though, may be socially responsible, but not truly ethical. Other companies may be ethical, but not socially responsible, and some aren't ethical or socially responsible. I invite you to take a look at this video to learn more. And now let's talk about Nestle for a second. Last couple of years, there have been some issues with Nestle. One, cookie dough. There was salmonella found in cookie dough. And as we know, as much as we say no, many of us have eaten cookie dough. So what can occur? And what was Nestle's process when it found this out? Well, first, identifying the issues. How many reports came in? How many calls came in discussing the issue and the illness that occurred? What did they do? How did they gather all the information? How did they talk with their stakeholders and really ensure that everyone was informed at once? Then, putting a plan to action. Really understanding and evaluating alternatives. Ethical, not ethical. The size of the corporation of Nestle, they have no choice but to really approach it from an ethical standpoint. And choosing a course of action. So, going back a little bit, you'll see on this slide, morsels, yum, E. coli. Study confirmed Nestle Toll House cookie was responsible for making 77 people sick during 2009. So they consider that more than enough to stop production and also reassess everything. Particular bad news for teenage girls who in turn eat a lot of cookie dough. During the outbreak, 66% of people who got sick were actually teenage girls. So is there a special message? But on the other aspect of it, once an outbreak occurs, how do consumers know when they've got a new product in hand or if they're not using the old one? So consider this, Nestle had to go to every single supermarket, reach out to the corporate headquarters, ensure that all cookie dough was cleared on every single shelf. And in order to bring back the product, they actually had to redo and create brand new packaging with a big label on it that said new batch to ensure to the consumer that they had trust and faith and knew that they were getting a new batch and not the old product, which created all of the issues. So once again, any ethical aspect, identify issues, gathering that information, looking at what the best alternatives and course of action is, and then setting off on that course of action and make sure all of your key stakeholders are communicated with. So, integrating ethics into your marketing strategy, like anything else, the planning phase. How are you going to plan it? How are you going to make sure everything, all T's are crossed, I's are dotted? And this is an approach that is sound in terms of ethical decision making. Then you're going to implement, like anything else, like any other marketing. And then at the end, control. Really understanding the impact and making sure everything along the way is controlled and managed in the way that you had envisioned it when you first started the planning phase. And last piece, CSR. Perhaps it's an area that you would like to explore. It's a large area within marketing corporations as well as in many careers and positions. So looking at it from corporate social responsibility, employees, that's core to them. If you're an employee of Coca-Cola, Apple, Nike, corporately social responsibility, that means something to you. The employees' families, customers, the marketplace in general, how you're positioned, as well as overall society. Those are the 4 key counterparts. Thank you. We'll see you soon.